Welcome back, Lecture 9. Lecture 9, we will be still continuing talking about one of the difficult things that is hard to understand, the space between the thoughts. And it is really very difficult, one to become aware about his thoughts, because the speed of the thoughts is extraordinary speed. The thoughts is it goes the faster the speed of the light. So therefore, one to become aware of his thoughts is really it needs a lot of discipline. I mean, you have to become more aware and alert, and to be that, you need to have a very flexible personality. I mean, you don't take things very serious. You have to have that determination and that consistently, seeing your thoughts and watching your thoughts and see what's happening in your brain. The thoughts, they go fast. I mean, one thought comes in your mind and it moves. The thoughts, they never stay in your brain. I mean, they usually move horizontal. But I know it is really it is hard to grab this idea of the space between the thoughts. For example, let me give you this analogy. When you look at the sky, you see the cloud moving the sky. I mean, now we know that when you peek the sky, is an infinitive. It's just a dark. I mean, you cannot. There's no way you will find where the sky will end. Is an infinitive. And you see the stars and all the planet moving in the sky. But in your mind, your imagination is an infinitive, the sky. But when you have a cloud, it's hard to see the sky. When it's raining or there's a cloud on the sky, it's hard to see the sky. So what's happening is that the cloud, usually they don't stay in the sky. I mean, they move. Either they move north, south, east, whatever the wind is moving. So once in a while you see the clarity of the sky, and then you peek that infinitive empty space. So I hope that analogy will help you, because it's the same thing, your thoughts, because there's billions of thoughts moving in your brain. I mean, when I'm saying moving, I don't mean in the sense of moving, but in the sense of a connection of the cells of your brain, because your brain, the white stuff in your head, basically, mostly all of them is cells, is billions of cells of connections in your brain. So this connection is billions of connections is what gives you that awareness of seeing things, or this perception of the world that you have. This is what created this perception. This perception is a thoughts, a billion thoughts of connections. It is very fascinating about how the brain works, because the brain is one of the extraordinary machine. I mean, it's very hard to understand how it works. But what we know is that as a human being, we think, and that thinks is being created the connections ourselves. So what's happening basically in your brain is that so you go through all this cultural training, you go through school training, you go through environmental training, you go through parental training, you go through family training, religion training, all these things, it builds huge connection. All this experience that you have since you were born until now, the brain builds this web of connections of your experience, of your life. That's why when someone has this disease is called Alzheimer's disease, what happens is that connection is deteriorated, and basically they no longer have that connection. That's why people who have Alzheimer's disease, they lose their memory, and then they can't remember anything at all. But the rest of their body is functioning properly. The only thing, the problem is that there's no longer their cells of their brain. They no longer have that connection, that web that they have created since they were born until now, because that's what you have experienced about life. You build your family, your belief system, your culture, your the way your perception, the way you look at the world. All these things is that connection. One is that cells no longer, they don't communicate any longer, then perhaps what's happening is that you have that disease called Alzheimer's disease. There's a lot of diseases out there which cause problems with your brain. And the reason is that it just happened to a modern man, because the brain breaks down. It's a machine. Because as soon as you were born until now, if you're thinking day and night, even when you sleep, the brain basically it loses its capability, the way it functions, because you never peak that sky, you never peak that consciousness, that ecstasy, because that ecstasy of orgasm or meditation, basically what it does is that it slows down the speed of your thoughts, and eventually you experience a wonderful experience. That means the brain enjoys this ecstasy. The brain enjoys this pleasure, right? Because the brain seeks a pleasure. Because once you use only language tools and memories, eventually the brain gets tired, and basically you see all kind of diseases out there. In modern man is very popular among old people, that when you reach 80 years old or 50 years old or above that, basically what happens is that your brain starts deteriorating, heating up, and you have that's why a lot of people have Alzheimer's disease. And there's a lot of people who have a mental illness. I mean, you have a schizophrenic people out there. What is schizophrenic? Basically, what happens in a schizophrenic nature is that they break down. They cannot tell what's real, what's not real. They go all this hallucination and paranoia because they cannot rationalize. The sequence of their reasoning ability, it has lost, because now they cannot tell what is true, what is not true, because they're living their own world, their own reality, which doesn't reflect the reality that we're living. So, my dear friend, we go through a different process of stages in evolution. In your body, it goes different stages, because what's happening is that we have been thinking all our lives, thinking, and eventually we were not going through a natural process of progressive, because we lost our nature. Our nature is the experience, that consciousness. And once you experience, you know how pure life can be, because the outlook, all your sense, your eyes, your smelling, your touch, it becomes the highest peak. You can see things more clearly, you can smell more clearly, and life becomes more enjoyable. And hopefully we will talk more about that next time. In the meantime, my dear friend, enjoy your life. Hopefully you will meditate and experience life fully. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.